Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
Hey, Larson.
Yeah.
Let's answer some questions. What do you say?
All right.
First up, from Yukon the Great. Says, my question is, why are so many people seemingly turning on AEW? It feels to me like ever since Triple H took over as head of creative in WWE, it seems like the wrestling narrative has changed to where a lot of people have suddenly started overhyping everything they're doing and crapping on or nitpicking anything AEW does to death.
I think what we're seeing here is two things kind of coinciding. I know Steve will credit Cody Rhodes leaving AEW for AEW. Part of it is probably the actual reason why a lot of it is happening is probably because of injuries and MJF taking a leave. That seemed to maybe have upset a lot of creative plans maybe they had in store. Look, I enjoy AEW's programming for the most part. They have things they have to improve. Absolutely. The creative over the last few months hasn't been as interesting as it was prior for me personally. And then you get a lot of optimism now that Triple H is running WWE creative. By and large, I enjoyed what he did in NXT. I think if he takes that kind of approach on main roster and still delivers some of the better aspects of WWE's style of sports entertainment, you give us coherent storylines, you have a vision for the product, you follow through on what you plan. I think the possibility is there for WWE to be really good going forward. I hope AEW comes back around to being really good. I hope they make the improvements they need to make to be interesting TV. But right now, I think it's just more a situation where AEW, they're not exactly hitting their stride right now. That could easily change now that they got some people returning from injury. Remains to be seen. I think that's really kind of what it is. You're people optimistic about WWE, AEW, maybe not hitting on exactly all cylinders right now. It's just two things just kind of overlapping at the same time.
I think, I think you hit a lot of it. I think that the thing about AEW is that it kind of started as kind of a reaction to what we'd been shoveled the last several decades. Yeah. Like Vince McMahon has never been not a part of major big budget wrestling in America. And AEW existed as, okay, let's see if we can provide a proper alternative. The cool stuff that we thought Vince could have done, they're going to do over in AEW. This cool stuff that you see in NXT, we're going to see in AEW on a big budget. AEW made a lot of promises about a lot of things, and to a degree it delivered, but we're also really starting to see Tony Khan's sort of true colors for good and for bad. You mentioned that being sort of a perfect storm with injuries. Well, a lot of the injuries and departures, you mentioned Cody Rhodes, and jokingly, I have said that, he's been the thing that AEW's, it's fallen apart. But the one thing that Cody definitely was a storyteller-based wrestler. Mm-hmm. He was all about telling the story, and not everything he did in AEW worked or was executed right, but I applaud the guy for trying some new things there. And then he went to WWE. He left. That's one storyteller that's gone. One thing that Tony Khan clearly employs in AEW is giving his wrestlers the freedom to sort of tell stories. Well, CM Punk was injured. MJF left. Jericho's still around. And you see, like, he's one guy who still actively tries to tell stories. When you have so many, Kenny Omega was a story guy. When you have so many guys that tell stories that are missing, you're going to get just wrestlers who just wrestle. And so for the longest time, you had sort of what plagued NXT for a spell during the 1.0 phase, which is just really good matches week to week, and that's kind of it. Not a lot of stories being told. And then there just became the really glaring issues with AEW, like the way Tony Khan clearly does not care for women's wrestling. He does not see the value in it. And he can try to profess that he does, but he doesn't. I mean, it's just clear. And that's a shame. And so on the other side, with Triple H, we're seeing what we wanted to see when we started to be interested in AEW. We're seeing, this is what it's like when Vince is gone. And you see just over a matter of weeks what Triple H is doing over there. So, you've got AEW sort of on the decline due to forces both in their control and not in their control. And you've got this intrigue on, we're going to see the biggest thing now without the biggest impediment to what it could be to its true potential.
Yeah.
So you've got all that, and I think that's why I think people are seeing. Anecdotally, I've seen so many people in our comments or on Twitter saying, "Yeah, I started tuning out of AEW. Just isn't as compelling as it was."
I think the numbers for our recaps bear that out, because our numbers for AEW recaps have gone down over the last month or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I mean it's we know just based on how our shows perform what the enthusiasm level is for wrestling kind of writ large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, when WB was kind of like the only major brand and it wasn't going well, that was reflected in our numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and now that AEW's taken a bit of a downturn, it's reflected in the numbers. I mean, the recaps still do fairly well, but you know, they were guaranteed to hit a certain threshold week after week, and that's not the case anymore.
I think with especially with the injuries thing, if Kenny comes back, if they start telling some stories again, that's going to bring some people back. I'm still very disappointed with how they've treated the women's division. A lot of it has been a lot of the sort of stuff that Tony's doing right now. It just seems scattershot, and he's throwing stuff at the wall.
It really is.
He's signing people that it's like, man, you got to be a bit more selective with who you're putting on TV. If TV time is so precious, I'm sorry, I know how much he wants Dark and Elevation to matter the same as cable television. It doesn't. It doesn't. And he needs to get that through his head, but he's a son of a billionaire. I think he's probably pretty stubborn. And to be honest, defiant at some points. B-Man Patrick Sparks says, with the Cardona's wedding being one of the better ones in wrestling, how would you power rank the rest of the wrestling weddings? Who would ruin your wedding if you were to have one? Joe DeSole.
Yeah, Joe DeSole would probably ruin it.
Yeah.
He's got a penchant for doing that of late.
What's like the top 3 wrestling weddings?
I mean, in terms of a heartwarming one, at least at the moment, is Macho Man and Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Seeing them get back together and then at SummerSlam, having the wedding there.
The legacy on that one sort of fell off a little bit for me because of their actual relationship.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But at the time,
yeah, sure,
it was pretty massive.
I thought Indexes was good. I'll be honest with that.
Yeah, that was fun.
The last one that Chelsea Green had, when she was Laurel Van Ness in Impact.
Oh yeah,
that was a really well done one. I know we're probably missing some. I mean, I forget what I was watching. I was watching some Triple H biography on a Peacock, and it was the one where he broke up the Stephanie one. It was him and Stephanie supposed to get married, and he turned on her, and she was the whole.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. Let's see here. We already sort of talked about that.
Mayor Planet Houston asked, do you miss when everything used to be a surprise? I feel like Hit Row coming back was less exciting because it was spoiled the day before. All these returns aren't going to be as fun if they keep getting spoiled. Well, I mean, Karrion Kross's return genuinely surprised me. It's one thing for an outlet to report that there has been discussions, but then for it to actually happen, I'm sure discussions happen all the time about a variety of things, but they don't always follow through,
Yeah, I generally tend to, when Fightful publishes the plans for SmackDown and Raw, I don't look at those. I still like to be as surprised as I can be. There are some time I'm sure if Fightful Select catches wind that somebody is going to debut, in a certain segment, I'm sure they'll put that info out there with the appropriate spoiler alerts. And sometimes you just can't get away from that. And that's, especially in our line of work, that's fine. But I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I get it. I know there's an element of fans out there who want to stay plugged into what we do. And at the same time, enjoy spoiler-free programming. Sometimes you just can't, it's like you got to choose one or the other. And that's the situation. But I don't know. I was surprised at Punk. They went to great lengths to keep that from getting out.
Yeah.
So I think it's still possible to do it, but too many people talk.
Yep. Marvell asks, Logan Paul is going into the WWE Hall of Fame celebrity wing, huh? I don't know. If he keeps having matches like he has been, it's entirely possible that he bypasses the celebrity wing altogether and they just put him in directly to Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think if he does the big four for like 5 years straight and he kills it every time out, he ain't gonna be in the celebrity wing. He'll end up. I mean, it'll be like 15 years, 20 years, or whatever.
Yeah.
But he'll end up. He'll do okay. He'll be in the proper one.
Yeah. Tristan here asked, do you think Ospreay will be Pac's opponent for All Out since he and Aussie Open are challenging Death Triangle in the first round of the Trios tournament? I could see that being the start of their feud for the All Atlantic title. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty neat. I'd be down for that.
That'd be a good match.
That would be a good match. Yeah, that'd be good. Let's see here. We've sort of answered this before, but we'll get around to it in this question here, in this video here. Jet Jaguar says, I feel like AEW uses too much blood in their TV matches, especially Mox, to the point where it's the norm and not shocking. Do you agree, and how would you solve this? I'll be honest with you. I know we've said before that blood can help enhance a story, and they should use it sparingly. I kind of don't give a shit. Like, Mox does it, and it's sort of the norm now, and I'm cool with it. I don't think it... I don't know. It's a convention of AEW now, and I'm fine with it. I don't think it adds or detracts. I think it adds a little bit because it adds drama, but I don't think it necessarily detracts anything. I think if we see it in WWE, then it's kind of shocking.
It is. It'd be incredibly shocking. Even when Dom had a little bit of fake blood on his face after Rhea beat him up, I was like, wow, they even put a little bit of fake blood on him. That's kind of surprising. Yeah. If you take Mox out of the equation, I know last week there was a coffin match and Brody King got busted open basically immediately. But like outside of that, blood doesn't happen all the time on AEW. Again, if you set Mox aside, they tend to save it for either the really huge matches or the ones that are really physical. That would make sense. Oh, someone might get busted open here.
Yeah. Oregon Grinder here in chat has a great question. Who is a worse on-screen authority, Vince Russo or the Raw GM laptop?
Oh,
I know, that's a tough one. I hated the laptop, but then I fucking hated seeing Russo on my TV too. Like, Russo might have been... I think I stopped watching WCW before that, but I think I tuned back in just to see, oh, Russo's there. Let's see if he's going to be interesting at all. And he was so bad that I think I was done watching WCW. And with the laptop, I think I still watch WWF.
Yeah, I would go with Russo. Somehow Russo was more annoying than someone reading off a laptop.
Yeah, of course, Enforcer here has it correct. Says Triple H would say him, yeah. No, the worst is the Enforcer. God, I turn my chat every single week when he shows up. Change the channel. Go watch Cultaholic or something.
Blake Whitehouse asks if Bayley or Rhea Ripley doesn't beat Bianca, don't beat Bianca for the Raw Women's Championship, who should? It's not Bayley. It's not Rhea. Who should beat Bianca for the title?
Oh man, I don't see anybody in NXT. I mean, and I hope they built Shayna up to the point where she's like an absolute, in the words of Ronda Rousey, a killer again. I'd be totally cool if it was Shayna. I'd be totally cool if Io Sky broke off and it was Io. I'd be totally cool with that. I'd be cool if it was Asuka. You know, Triple H. Triple H might have plans for Asuka. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so.
We'll end on this one. Devin Carley says, how will Cody's push be affected under Triple H? Is it all baked into his contract, or does Paul see Cody as a main event star beyond contract guarantees?
I doubt there's any sort of contractual guarantees for creative that specific.
Yeah.
I doubt.
Yeah, I doubt it too. Yeah.
Could be wrong, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I would think that if Triple H sees an opportunity to tell a good story and in the process make money for the company, that's what he'll do.
I think Triple H probably loves Cody. I think he does. I think that Cody was constantly paying homage to Triple H, number one. He was teasing using the pedigree for how long, and then he finally did. He had that killer performance at Hell in a Cell, which Triple H has to love. Triple H is a big fan of history, and you can see just how often he used Cody's dad in that U.S. title package.
Yep.
I get the feeling that Triple H
he had a ton of respect for Dusty.
Yeah, I think that Triple H I think he sees Cody as probably one of the things that him and Vince had in common. He looks at Cody and he's like, dude, you're kind of the chosen one at this point, you know? Like the crowd loves Cody. That Hell in a Cell match, what was the match that was compared to most often? Triple H when he tore his quad. You know, I think there's a lot of parallels there, and I think that Triple H is going to look at Cody and be like, yeah, you're going to be the guy. I don't think there's any reason in the world why he wouldn't think that.
Oh, imagine Steve's two favorite wrestlers, Triple H and Cody.
Yeah, do I know how to pick him or do I know how to pick him? Anyways, that's going to do it for us today for questions. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, that subscribe button. Check out these other videos we're about to put on the screen. And tell your friends. We'll talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.